Okay, so we were discussing about decision making, right? So as we know, decision making, it's a process. Okay, so decision making is a process by which a course of action is consciously chosen from available alternatives for the purpose of achieving desired result. Okay, so we have an result, we have an objective or goal in our mind, and for that we have different alternatives, different ways to reach that goal. So decision making means it's the process by which we can choose the best way, okay, best way to reach our goal or reach our destiny, right? So what were the limitations in decision making? So the first thing is it is a time consuming process. So whenever we are making a decision, we have to be making an informed decision, right? So we need to consider all the merits, all the demerits. Okay? We will have to talk to some other experts. We have to take advices from other people. So it's a long process. So it takes a lot of time. Then sometimes of something. Okay, and we will have to make the compromise decision. Okay, because many people will be involved, so everyone will have their own opinion. So we will be forced to say, make certain compromise. So in decision making compromise decision is a decision. Then the possibility of biased decisions, right? So biased decision means the one who is in power. Okay, the one who makes the decision. He will be having a tendency to keep his or her own benefit in mind. Okay, so that kind of attitude will always affect his or her decision making. Maybe it will be self or someone he knows, his friends. Okay, so there is a possibility of biased decision making. So biased decision will always be bad for the company, right? Then limited analysis. In the first point we said decision making is a time consuming process, right? So we need to take a lot of things into consideration. But what happens is the manager being maybe uh, inexperienced or being a lazy fellow might not consider all the things. Okay? He might not consider all the factors. So he might be doing only a limited analysis. So that's also a possibility. That's also limitation. Then comes an uncontrollable environmental factor. So we have a lot of factors, right? That comes from maybe strike, workers, it's a strike that comes in play. External like something that comes from external. And the last one is uncertain future. From the way of whatever we are doing it so we are doing it for future. And the only certain which we can tell, right, happen tomorrow. So uncertain future is also a limited me. Uh, we need to decision making means the process of choosing to reach a available alternatives, right? We need to evaluate and we need to select. The evaluation is needed to the best alternative for implementation. And this means here, here while doing after doing evaluation, only we'll be making the ultimate decision. So that is the point of completing evaluation, we'll be making the ultimate decision. And what do we do while evaluation? We'll be evaluating, we are considering all the factors, right? Everything will be considered. And what are these factors? These are quantitative and qualitative factors. And what do you mean by quantitative factors? Quantitative factors means those which we can be quantified, okay, which we can be measured, okay, in terms of numerical itself, right? So like profit, loss, wastages, these things all can be measured, right? Quantitative factors. Similarly, we have qualitative factors, quality of work. Okay, we cannot measure that, right? Numerically, we cannot put a value. The intangible. Okay, so quantitative factors are tangible and they numerically. Qualitative factors are intangible, they cannot be measured. To do, we need to consider how do we margin analysis. What do we with finding the change in total add one. Okay, if we are producing 10 units, and what will happen if we produce plus? What will happen? 100 plus or product, right? So in total one unit we have produced, right? By what the 100 and marginal cost means what is the change in the total into one addition. What is the cost? The cost one unit, one cost. And what we do is margin cost result. If more margin, then by putting more, I have more. Okay, more revenue, more, and margin is less than marginal cost. Okay, if the revenue then profit is producing less. Okay, profit can be made by producing. So marginal revenue, cost, marginal revenue which we get by selling one more unit, and marginal cost for production. So if more than the cost, then more marginal cost, less production. By producing less, we'll have more and more. The second one is cost benefit analysis, or we do it find out benefit. Okay, more than cost, this which is the cost will be cost. Alternative which gives us maximum benefit at minimum cost to be selected. And here cost, the net benefit is a term to be mentioned. So actually we said the example of, right, biryani will be costing 200 rupees for you. After you are having a biryani, you pay your bill for 200 rupees. But it doesn't mean the owner or the hotel owner is receiving 200 rupees. He will have to deduct his expenses, right? For the materials, for the chef, for the equipment, all these materials, all this amount has to be deducted from this 200 rupees. And what finally remains, that will be his profit. Okay? That will be his net benefit. Okay. So net benefit, so that has to be considered. Okay. So evaluation, we have two methods, right? We can evaluate by margin analysis or by cost effective. And now how do we select from the alternative? Selecting, we need, again, we have three tools. Okay. First one is experience. Right? So experience is the first tool. So experience means it may be, it's the guide. Okay? It's a guide. It may be your own experience. Okay? Or it may be from someone whom you know. Okay? Or someone or some other industries. Right? You know, see, there was a restaurant like that in the past. Now there is a restaurant now. See how the food is running. What are they doing? So you can take their experience and implement in your own. Right? That is experience. Then comes experimentation. So experimentation means we are trying one of the alternatives. Okay, we will be trying one of the alternatives and then choosing. Okay, what we do is we'll try it out and see what is happening. Right. So whenever we say we are trying it out, something means we need to implement it, right? When we are implementing, we need money and we need manpower. So money and manpower means it's again equal to money itself. So it will be more and more expensive. So this method is very expensive, and you should only consider this after all the other alternatives are selected or all the alternatives are considered, right? The final method, that is the research and analysis, is the best technique. Okay, when now you use the best technique for many decisions are involved, and what are you doing here? You are researching and you are analyzing it. Okay? You are understanding the problem first. Okay, so it may involve modeling, qualitative and quantitative aspect studying. Okay? So for example, in the civil engineering, you might have seen softwares like ETABS, StatPro, like the softwares are there. And what do we do in that software? We will design a multi-story building. Okay, we will give dimensions for beam, dimensions for column. Okay, how much of reinforcements are required? Everything will be given, and the software will run the simulation. It will check it out, and it will say whether the building is safe or not. Given by the given criteria, is it safe? Is it unsafe? Okay, so we are researching. So rather than constructing and seeing what will happen, okay, we are running a simulation. We have created a model and ran a simulation, and we are finding out what is the result, whether our building is safe or unsafe, right? So similarly, we can do research analysis. Then we saw what are the different types of decisions, right? We have two types of decisions: programmed and non-programmed decisions. The programmed decisions are those decisions which are for repetitive in nature. Okay, when we have to make this decision on a daily basis or repetitive basis. So for given situation, whoever makes the decision, okay, the decision will be same. Why? Because we are following a set of guidelines. We have a policy, we have a set of rules, regulations, everything will be there. So we need to follow that. So whoever makes the decision, he'll be following this set of rules and regulations. So ultimately the decision will be same. I think we discussed, right? Example for purchase manager. When an order comes, he knows what is to what's the procedure to be followed. And once the procedure is followed, whether the decision is apt or not, whether we need to put it will be decided. Okay, it is we have policies. Whoever is the purchaser, he will make the same decision. Then we have program decisions. It's not recurring. Uh, so it is a situation and it's very subjective. We don't know when this will happen and when the what is we don't know how to react. We have never made such a decisions before. It's not program decisions. And how do we make a non-program decision? We have different tools. Okay. One of the tools is Delphi method. In Delphi method, we'll gather experts and we'll give a set of questionnaire. After we'll collect the feedback, we answer. So question A, 5 experts said yes, 5 experts said. Question B, 6 experts said yes, 4 experts said no. Like that, and we'll announce the result. Okay? And we give the questionnaire back to them. And ask them, do you wish to change this interaction? They may change the answer. Once we again collect it, again tablet it, but again. So this process until and unless there's some sort of an agreement. Okay, there's among the experts. Right? We are not opting for 100% agreement. Okay? Some degree of agreement, a consensus, some degree of consensus. Method, nominal technique, right? In nominal technique, what happens is again we'll have a group of members. Then the requirement is all of them should contribute. All of them should contribute an idea or an alternative. We'll be given them this is the scenario, this is the situation, what has to be done. So everyone has to pitch in. Everyone has to give us an alternative or an idea. And once this is given, after that, when everyone is given, only after that interaction is allowed. Okay. So what is happening there? I am giving out my own idea. Okay. So without an interaction, so nobody is influencing me. I am giving out an idea on my own. Okay. Experience. My experience is experience of qualitative decision making tools will be that is mathematics, maths, and that tools are used. Okay, so the aids like operational research, linear programming, all this can be used for predicting. You can send out, see what will happen. Okay, using maths. Right? Then quality circles another method. In quality circles, what happens again? Group employee and will volunteer. Okay, the volunteer they have together voluntarily, and then the problem. What is the problem they're facing? Okay, they'll talk and talk the problem. And finally, they may achieve. Also, what are the difference between program and non-program? You know, that are they are not and program the structured, non-program decisions are non-structured. Decisions are really simple and have a small impact. Non-program decisions are relatively complex and have large impact level, right? In the decisions and procedures, etc. Program decisions and non the situation based on the situation will okay. Usually program are taken by higher level authority and programmed decision managers. Okay, the project manager is taking the decision. Decisions under scenarios, right? So, what is the decision to be made? So we have certainty, decisions under certainty, decisions under uncertainty, and decisions under right. We are certain of future. Okay, so again we say what will happen in the future. But what we are assuming that the future is certain. Okay, we are not sure. We are not 100% sure, but we are assuming the future to be certain. Okay, and that we are deciding. What do we use it? We programming. Okay, linear programming. So in this method, a desired benefit. So we know profit. Okay, our aim is profit. Or desired benefit. It is expressed in mathematically as equations. Mathematical functions of variables like maximum sale plus minimum marketing is equal to profit. Okay. Maximum production plus minimum wastage is equal to profit. In similar way, we will be forming set of equations and we will be solving equations. Okay. What we do? X plus y plus z is equal to 1, x plus y plus z is equal to 3, x plus y plus z is equal to 5. Upon solving, we get a value of x, y, and z, right? In a similar way, we'll solve for the above set equations. And what is the solution for each decision variables? We'll get a solution that gives us maximum profit. Subject to certain criteria. Constraints will be there. Always a constraint will be there. Like maximum production in a day is this much. We can produce only maximum 1000 units. That will be constraint. The constraints will be there, but within the constraints, these decision variables. Suppose a decision variable will change. Okay, based on the situation. For example, now we will take decision variables sales, then wastages, production, and the marketing. Like that, if suppose these are the decision variables, we'll get a value for each of these decision variables, which will give us maximum profit based within our constraints. Okay, but the problem is, it is the future is uncertain, and every company, whatever we are doing today, it's very can only be made under certain. Very good decisions can be made under certain. Okay. Next, so decisions are the okay. So uncertainty occurs when there are several future options are, but the probability of each of these occurring is not known. We know, suppose we have four alternatives A, B, C, and D. Okay. We know these are the four possibilities that can happen. Okay. We don't probably happen more. We don't. We know what are of the, but we don't know the percentage of how much is the probability. So decision making. Maxi, max solution. Here, this kind of approach is optimistic person. Everything before or positive person. Okay, everything that will happen is positive. That's a person. This use of this approach. And what happens in this approach? That is, so we are having four alternatives, right? A, B, C. What's the manager? What best thing if you choose A? What is the best thing that will happen? If you choose B, best for C, and best for D. Only the best is considered. What is the best thing that will happen? And out of these four best, you say the best, okay, which is the more, which is the maximum. The maximum of this best is considered, right? This max solution. So everything is maximum. Which max considered maximum. Which one is the maximum will take it. Okay. So if the for A it is 10, C is 12, D it is because it's maximum. Second one is max solution. Solutions. This approach is taken by someone. What here? What the person can. What is the worst? What is the that can happen? What is the worst thing I choose? B. What is the thing that happen if I choose C? And what is the worst happen if I choose D? Okay. Here, the maximum worst. Okay, worst. Yeah, bad worst. Maxi. Consider. Then we will pick the out of 4. Okay, maxi min. Like maxi min. So maximum, but if each of that. So for A it is B it is 7, E is 13. The minimum of this 10. So already A is bad, right? So what is the outcome of this? Whatever the decision use minimum of, right? Decision A gives 10, loss of 11, and this is 13, right? So out of these, the one which gives a minimum loss is the one A, that is 10. If I had chosen 11, I had chosen B, loss would be 11. So it's not the case over here like that. Okay, maxi min. No, minimax. Minimax means it is the center root. We are in between. We are not neither optimistic. We are neither pessimistic. We are choosing a central path, right? The fourth one is Laplace criteria. So in the beginning, what we said is we know there are alternatives are there, but we don't know what is the percentage, or we don't know what is the probability of occurrence of each of these alternatives. But in Laplace criteria, what we do is we'll assume that the probability of occurrence of all the alternatives are equal. Okay, all the alternatives are equal, and one is n. Okay, so using this, and we find the one which gives us maximum result. Okay. That, the third one is this risk. Okay. So out of all common scenarios, taking decision under risk is most common scenario. Write a note or write some explain what is the most common method of risk or more scenarios of decision making. So we will write about taking the risk. Okay. So risk is the decision making under risk is the most common scenario. So what do we do here? In here, first of all, as usual, we'll be defining the problem and identifying all likely alternatives. What are the alternatives? Then what is the possible outcome for each of these alternatives? Okay. What will happen if I employ each of these alternatives? Then discuss the outcomes based on the monetary value. Right? How much is the amount which I can get? Because I am putting in some time and assets are put in. So what is the result? Okay. That is to be considered. Suppose if I am putting up a menu, a restaurant, okay, menu is my decision to be made. So whether it is French cuisine or Arabic or in Kerala style food. So I had to put in new equipments, hire a chef like that. I had to spend money. I had to put in my assets and time. So these things has to be combined in terms of money. Then we will allocate a probability for each of the uncertainty. Okay, and because we are doing, okay, I am the one who is selecting the alternative and I am the one who is selecting the probability. The quality of my result will depend upon me. Okay, that has to be taken care. And then we'll do something called sensitivity analysis. Okay, and what is sensitivity analysis? Sensitivity analysis measures the responsiveness. Okay, responsiveness of the independent variable for a given change in the dependent variable. Okay, so what is that? When you change a dependent variable, what is the change in the independent variable? That thing is analyzed. Okay, what is the first step in sensitivity analysis? It is done in 3 steps. The first step is identify all the variables that affect the net present value or IRR of the project. Okay, what do you mean by net present value? Net present value means it is means the I have put in an investment. Okay, maybe 6 months back I have put in ₹100. Okay, what is the income? What is the revenue which I have today? That is net present value. Okay, IRR or internal rate of return means I put in I put in ₹100 investment in the 6 months ago. After 1 year, what is the amount which I get? And suppose I get ₹150. Okay, revenue ₹150. What is the present value of that 150? Okay, what is the present value of that ₹150 today? That is considered. Okay, so what are the factors for NPV and IRR are considered? Then we'll apply a mathematical relationship. Earlier, as we've seen, we'll put in a mathematical relationship and then we'll analyze the impact. And those projects which show sensitivity, okay, greater sensitivity. So higher the sensitivity, higher will be the risk, and we need to be careful about that. Okay, higher the sensitivity, higher the risk. Second method is decision tree analysis. So decision tree analysis is done like we'll draw schematically. We will represent all the decisions. Okay, so here always we'll read from left to right. So in this case, the square denote the decision point and the circular denote chance point, and there's something triangular that shows end. Okay, so what happens is here we are making a development decision. Okay, so we are going to decide I am going to start a new product, launch a new product, say a new mouse. Okay, new mouse which has been I'm going to what I'm going to start. Okay, that's the development decision. So what is the but decision after taking decision, next what is the chance the development may succeed or it may fail? That is the chance for it. Chance of success is there, chance of failure is there. So once it is success, once I have succeeded, I have succeeded. Next, the decision is to set up a plant. Right? So I need to set up a plant. So whether I should set up a large plant or a small plant, that's my decision. Okay, plant size decision has to be made. So I decided to make a large plant. Okay, the large plant again there are two chances are there. One is it can complete as early as possible, like 8 months. If everything goes well, it will complete in 8 months. And if something goes bad, it will complete in 12 months. So both the chances are shown there. So by looking at a decision tree, we can see what are we can see all the alternatives which we have, and that makes us decision making easier. So see here. So if after my product is developed, I can see if I choose a large plan, at the earliest I can at least I can start my product by 8 months, or latest I can start by production by 12 months. Okay, if it is a small plant, I'm going to do that. The latest I can start production is 6 months, and the earliest I can start my production is 4 months. So I can get all my details, all my answers in this illustration itself. Okay, so this makes making decisions easier. Right. And finally, last topic in this module is creative process. Okay, creative process and innovation. So creativity to develop new ideas. Okay, so now we are having access to K20. Uh, all of it. So we are all having putting out new creativity on your part. So we can conduct this event. So that's creativity. We are developing new ideas, right? And innovation means the use of these ideas. How can we use this idea? So creativity, innovation. Now creative process, it has 4 phases. Okay, 4 phases. They are overlapping and interacting. Okay, it's not that they are exclusive or they are overlapping. They are interacting. Where there are 4 phases. Okay, the first phase is unconscious plan scanning. Second one is intuition. Third one is insight, and the fourth one is logical formulation. Right? Unconscious scanning, intuition, insight, and logical formulation. Right? So unconscious scanning means it is something beyond our consciousness. And what do you mean by consciousness? Consciousness is awareness. Basically, it's awareness. In Malayalam, we'll say it is bodham. Okay? So it's beyond consciousness. So what is that? So you might have felt this, like, so you are immersed in a problem. Okay, you are immersed in a problem such that you don't know some sort of region way you might have got an answer. We say eureka moment, right? You don't know where the answer came from because you are so much in that in that problem. Suddenly, some way that something clicked, and you got a solution. That is what is happening. Unconsciously, you are getting the answer. It's beyond your consciousness, so requires any absorption the problem. Okay, so manager, but in real world, what happens is we are working on time constraints. So managers are working under time constraints and often make decisions prematurely rather than dealing thoroughly with the ill-defined problems. Like, say for example, when you are free, okay, you're being given a problem, you can do it in your own time. You have no time constraint. You can spend as much time as you want. The result will be different, right? You can we say mulgi require like that. You can sit down. Right? You can be completely engrossed in the work. But the same thing happens in the exam. The question comes up in the examination. So you would have allocated 10 minutes for the question. Okay. Within 10 minutes, I am going to complete this question. That's your plan. So within 10 minutes, you may not be able to do that. Okay. It becomes time constraint will be a factor. The phase one is unconscious uh, scanning. Okay. So something that goes beyond our consciousness. Phase two is intuition. Intuition connects a what unconscious and conscious mind. Okay, the sixth sense, right? Because we can the sixth sense is basically we can something in Malayalam we can say avabodham and all. Okay, the sixth sense that connects the unconscious and consciousness. Okay, so what happens is it requires time to work and requires people. Okay, we need more and more ideas to come, and one of the best ways to encourage or promote intuitive thinking is by brainstorming. We shall see what is brainstorming. Okay, the third phase is insight. So in the first phase you had connected event beyond your consciousness. Then there's a connection between consciousness and unconsciousness, and the third one is insight. Insight means your result, your understanding. Okay, what you have understood. That is the result of your hard work. You have spent time, you have spent your energy in doing something, and you understood that. So that becomes your insight, right? And finally, you have something called logical formulation. So you have your insight, you have your understanding. Next, what you have to do is you need to thoroughly test it. Okay, insight needs to be tested thoroughly through logic or experiment. Okay, and that becomes uh, both ways, that is formulation, logical formulation or verification. Just because you understood, that doesn't mean it is going to work. You need to be sure, right? And as we said, with brainstorming, it's an idea, it's a method for creativity, it's a method for intuitive thinking. And what happens is, brainstorming, this idea was developed by Alexis F. Osborne. He's known as father of brainstorming. Okay, so what happens is, in brainstorming, it's the process of generating creative ideas and solutions through intensive and unrestricted group discussion. You are given your complete freedom. You can have intense discussion. You can say anything about the topic. Okay, complete given 100% freedom. Okay, and what is encouraged? Multiplication of ideas and encouraged. Okay, you need more and more ideas has to come, and certain rules has to be followed. Okay, what are the rules? No ideas are ever criticized. Okay, you should not criticize someone else's idea. Okay, because that will discourage others to. So no ideas are discouraged. Everything is okay, good. Next, like that. Then more the radical ideas, the better. Okay, don't think outside the box. Okay, don't go in the same convention path. Think outside what can be done, like that. Okay, more radical ideas, the better. The quantity of ideas production is stress. You need more and more ideas. And improvement of other ideas by others is encouraged. Yeah, you should not criticize the idea. Somebody puts an okay thought, like, okay, can we do like this? Okay, if you have an idea currently that, okay, you can do this, but can we change like this to that? Like that, you can improve on the ideas. Okay, this is brainstorming. And with this, we can wind up our fourth module. So let me know if you have any doubt, or else we move on to